Welcome to the 24th of April, 2026, the Soaring Spirit edition. By now, you of course heard that Donald Trump wants to dump a $500 million into Spirit Airlines to keep it afloat. I've had the fortune or misfortune of flying the world's worst airline, and it's everything that people say it is. That's all I can say. And I've flown what in Europe they have what they consider to be the world's worst airline called Ryanair. I've flown both of them. And if I had the choice of flying either one again, I'd fly Ryanair pretty easily because I have no problem with Ryanair. Spirit, every bad thing you've ever heard about Spirit Airline is true. Why I love this is that it just goes to further cement how bad Trump is destroying his brand. If your brand is, I am luxury, I believe in gold, I'm here to blah, 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 make the world a better place, make America great again, keeping the worst thing in aviation that's tied to the United States, keeping that company afloat, very few taxpayers are going to be, oh, that's a good use of our money. Arguably, it's fair for the government to do this because it was Trump's war of choice right here in the Middle East that caused Spirit to not be able to pay these inflated fuel prices, which led to their demise, on top of 8,000 other things they do that led to their demise. So there is some fairness in doing it, but wow, way to go against brand. I just want to say that I'm one of those people who does not have any fear of flying. There are a lot of people who, when there's turbulence, they get scared. At least a half dozen times in my life, I've flown next to a female passenger who asked me to hold their arm, and probably three or four times I've had a male passenger sitting next to me, gripping my arm like somehow or another holding on to me is going to keep us alive when the plane blows up. So there are a lot of fearful passengers out there. I am not one. That said, I once was on this tiny little, when I say puddle jumper, we're talking it seated 12 people total, two pilots, one supposed airline stewardess, I don't know, and nine passengers. And the plane was incredibly overloaded by all of the gear that the hikers, the trekkers in Nepal were carrying. So we're on this tiny little propeller plane. We're incredibly overloaded, and we have to go from Pokhara to Kathmandu, and we have to get over mountains to do it. And so the plane has to circle and circle and circle to get the altitude to go over the mountains. And I'm enough of a weather geek that I'm like, this is considered VFR, which is called Visual Flight Rules in the world of aviation. This is VFR because the pilots were using what I can only describe as the car navigation thing before we had Apple Maps. Oh, you know what I'm talking about. Anyhow, that's what they were using, and it just showed an arrow, Kathmandu that way. And so they knew the altitude they had to get over the mountains, and so they just circled and circled and circled, got that altitude, and then headed for Kathmandu. And then once we got over the mountains and we're heading into the Kathmandu Valley, they received a notification that the airport was overloaded in a queue, and so we were going to have to circle more in Kathmandu. At that moment, the low fuel light indicator came on in the cockpit. Now, if you're wondering how I, as a passenger, can know all this, it's because my knees were literally in the back of the co-pilot. And so if I reached forward like this, I could have touched the control panel. That's the type of airplane I was in. So I'm watching everything, and I'm playing the simulator game with them, watching what's going on. And when the low fuel light came on and we were nowhere near the airport, I was like, oh, we're fucked. Um, and anyhow, the pilot immediately radios the tower, and we are the next in the queue, and we land, and everything was good. It's the one time I ever got off an airplane that I wanted to do the Pope imitation and kiss the ground. I was like, yeah, yeah, okay. I don't have a fear of flying, but we legitimately nearly died there. That was really, really not good. Because yeah, had we done one more circle to get over the mountain, we wouldn't have had the fuel to land. It was Yeah. Okay. Anyhow, and that's what you get for paying $60 for an airline ticket. There's such a thing as going cheap, and then there's such a thing as going cheap in a third world country where aviation rules are not the same as they are in the West. Eek. Okay, so that's just the fact that Trump is destroying his brand even more, that makes my spirit soar. It does. The other thing I'd like to draw your attention to is, and by the way, there's no news here in the Middle East that you don't already know that I know. There's nothing you know that I don't know. And a shout out to everybody back in Eastern Iowa. I hope you're okay. I spent several hours tonight talking with Mike, my theater speech coach, doing Thursdays with Mike, which we do every Thursday, Iowa time. And then I spent several hours talking to my friend Tony and the art gallery friend as he sat on his deck watching the storm after storm roll through, and I enjoyed that because I am a weather geek. I want to call your attention if you're with free time this weekend to listen to an interview on The Daily Show with a guy by the name of Ben McKenzie. Now, I read his book called Easy Money back in 2023. I don't know if you probably never heard of the book, but this isn't going to show well. But anyhow, it's called Easy Money. It's about the whole crypto market. And I didn't know him as an actor because I never watched the OC or anything else he's been in. So I don't know this guy as an actor. But he used the fact that he was an actor to get into the crypto world in a way that no journalist by themselves could. So then he paired up with a journalist to create this book called Easy Money. And and so anyhow, just last night he went on to The Daily Show, and all I can say is please watch the interview. I'll put it in the show notes. I'll try to make it a link at the anyhow. Please watch it. He's worth doing. I don't want to take up any more of your time. It's been a wild. We're now down to T minus 7 days, and I still have a cat I don't know what to do with. I am sitting in an apartment, sweating my ass off because yesterday it hit 103. It is currently 99 degrees at noon. It's going to go to 105 today, according to the forecast. And I have an AC that spits out kind of cool air, certainly not cold. So, on that note, I need to track down somebody who can fix my AC. I wish you all a good weekend, and I'll see you tomorrow.